Hello guys, welcome to the video. So in this one, we're gonna do something for the targeting system. We're going to improve it. As of now, tower is targeting random enemy within the attack range, and it was fine like that because we needed to focus on more important things. But now I think it's time to focus on a targeting system, and usually in tower defense games, it works a bit differently. Over here, I have a recording of a Kingdom Rush. This is one of the probably most famous tower defense games out there, and I'm gonna go here, and you can see that towers always target an enemy that would be first to reach the finish line. So if there is an enemy that would be first to reach the finish line, then that enemy causes the most threat. That is the most dangerous enemy, and it should be eliminated first. And you can see it happens here. The one that is further away targeted first. It was not so noticeable there, but right now on the left you can see there are lots of enemies within the attack range, and tower is always trying to target the most advanced enemy. Okay, you can see the first enemy targeted. Yeah, there it is. This one was the most dangerous, so it's targeted first. Over here on this example we can see this enemy targeted before this one, even though they both in the attack range. So that's what we're going to do in this game, and to do that, first we need to know total distance on the enemies, and then we can just compare remaining distance on the enemies and target enemy that has less remaining distance. That's my idea of how it should work. Maybe it's done differently in that game, but I think this solution will work as good as that one. Okay, so how it's going to be. We have waypoints over here, right? This is the waypoints we have, all of them, and I'm gonna check total distance between all of these waypoints and give them to the enemy. Means I'm gonna get this distance, then I'm gonna add this distance, then I'm gonna add this distance, then this, then this, then this, then this, and this will give me total distance of a way for the enemy. This is how we're gonna do it first. Let's go to the enemy script. And inside of this script, we're going to make a variable. I'm going to do space over here, and I'm going to make it public just so we can debug it. I'm going to do public float total distance. So in this way, we're going to collect total distance between waypoints, just like I explained in Unity. To do that, we're going to get distance between current waypoint and next waypoint. And we're going to do it until the last one, because on the last waypoint we don't have a next waypoint, so we don't need to check distance for the last one. So we're gonna do for loop, and as a length we're gonna do waypoint length -1. Again, because let's say we have 4 waypoints like that, we can check distance here, we can check distance here, can check distance here, but here we don't need it because there is no waypoints. So last one is out of question. We know distance to the last one by checking the previous one. So that's why we're doing -1. Then let's do float distance equals to vector3 the distance between waypoints with the I dot position and waypoints with the I plus 1 dot position. Okay, then we're gonna do total distance equals to total distance plus distance, just like that. So this will help me to collect total distance of waypoints for the enemy. Let's save it. Let's go back to Unity. Go to play mode. And I'm gonna select one of the enemies. And we can see we have total distance over here, 29.7. Perfect. Now we need to know not only total distance, but also distance that is remaining between the enemy and next waypoint. We can get that value simply by using agent. Let's go to the enemy script. I'm gonna make another variable, public float remaining distance. And in the update, I'm gonna do remaining distance equals to total distance plus agent remaining distance. Yeah, this will do it. This will show us the total distance plus remaining distance to the waypoint. And thanks to this, we can see which enemy is closer to the next waypoint, considering the total distance as well. Let's go and see how this works, but that's not it. We also need to reduce the distance once waypoint is reached. But first, let's see it. I'm gonna hit the play mode until a couple of enemies are spawned. Then I'm gonna pause the game. So there are multiple enemies. Let's pause the game. Let's check. This enemy has a remaining distance of 36. Next enemy has a remaining distance of 38, and next one has a remaining distance of 40. So it works. We know that this one is closer to the finish line because this one has a lower value over here. Now we need to reduce the total distance that is left for the enemy if he reaches the waypoint. To do that, we can go to the script. Now we need to modify this getNextWaypoint method, but before we do that, let me remind you something, because otherwise it's going to be very confusing, okay? So, by default, agent has no destination. Because of that, his remaining distance is 0. If his remaining distance is 0, then we set in his destination to the next waypoint. That's what we do, that's how it works, that's why enemy can find first waypoint in the array. Now, when we call that method, inside of this method, we assign in target point, which is a destination that we return for agent set destination over here. So, right, this one goes over here. Once we set that waypoint, we increase in waypoint index by making it +1. And next time we call this method, waypoint index is equals to 1. So it means that inside of Unity, when enemy is created, it has already set this waypoint as a destination, because this is the waypoint 0, and his index is equals to 1. So once he reaches this waypoint, he will choose this waypoint. Very good. Now let's go back to the script and do something here. Inside of this method, after we did assign a new target point over here that we're going to return, after we did this, after we did use waypoint index, we can check if waypoint index is bigger than 0, then we're gonna get float distance equals to vector3.distance between waypoints with waypoint index dot position and waypoint index -1 dot position. So this is the distance. Then we're gonna take total distance and make it equals to total distance minus distance. So why we're doing this and what we're doing here? First of all, you need to know that we're doing if waypoint index bigger than 0. So this will not work for the first time we call in this method when we get in the first waypoint, which has index 0, because inside of this if statement, we get in distance between current waypoint index and last waypoint index. Let's go back to Unity. I'm going to explain. Once we reach in the waypoint, we want to know what's the distance is behind the enemy. So if enemy reached this waypoint, we want to check distance between this waypoint and this waypoint. We want to know what's the distance behind him. If he reaches this waypoint over here, then we're going to check distance between this waypoint and the last one. But we cannot do it for the first waypoint in the array, because first waypoint in the array does not have a previous one. So there is no distance to check. You know, there is nothing there. This was the first one in the array. Because of that, we cannot do this calculation for waypoint with the index 0 over here, to be precise over here, because we cannot do 0 minus 1. There is no -1 in the array. That's why we're doing if waypoint index bigger than 0, then you can check the distance, and you check distance between current waypoint and last waypoint. You subtract that distance from a total distance, and then you can safely increase waypoint index for next time you call the method. All right. Maybe this is a little bit confusing, so let me put comments on this. Boom, magic of editing. So this is what we do here. Now, thanks to this, we can have remaining distance on the enemy. Let's save it and let's go back to Unity. I'm gonna go to play mode and we're gonna see this. We can see we have remaining distance 37, 36. If you select enemy that was spawned later, he has a bigger value. In this example, it is 40. Now, let me switch off this tower so it will not kill enemies. And let's see the distance for the enemy over here. All right. So we have distance reduced every time we reach in waypoint, and it's getting lower and lower. And this is just what we need. Now, this is the distance for the first enemy in the line. This is the distance for enemy that is further in the line, 21. And this one has 18. This one has 16. First one has 12. Perfect. So now we can get this value to check remaining distance and choose target of the tower according to the remaining distance. The lower the value is, the more priority the target has. That's what we're going to do. Let's go to the script and clean this up a little bit. So this one, I'll just close it. We don't need to change anything here, really. Like that. Then this one. Let's maybe wrap this into a method. Extract method. I'm gonna name it as collect total distance, just like that. All right. Now let me go over here. This can be private, we don't need it. And this can be private as well, just like that. Because we know how it works, we don't really need to see this value in the inspector. What we need is a method that would return us remaining distance. And I think it's okay if we don't do this in the update anymore. I'm gonna just go, maybe, give me a second. Let's go over here and let's make public float distance to finish line. Yeah, like that. Distance to the finish line will be equals to total distance plus agent remaining distance, which basically is this one over here. And now, because we're getting this through the method, because we're gonna call this method on the tower, we don't really need this variable anymore. So I'm gonna remove this from the update. And I want to remove this variable because it is not used anymore, like that. Okay, very nice. Now, maybe let's rearrange it slightly. I'm gonna take this method, cut it out, and I'm gonna place it below distance to finish line, like that. And this will be it for now, I think. So this is what we do. We collect in distance, we get in distance that is remaining through the method. And in the next video, we're gonna use tower to choose a new target, and we're gonna do that by comparing distance to finish line on all of the enemies within the attack range. But I wanna do that in the next video, so this is good for now. I'll see you in the next one.